In this episode, we look at Unit 3, Important Events and People in Jamaica's History. Important Events and People in Jamaica's History. What are some of the events that have helped to shape Jamaica's history? Emancipation. Slavery began in Jamaica in 1494 and continued until 1834. On August 1st, 1834, the British government made a law abolishing slavery. However, the ex-slaves still had to work for their former masters for 40 hours per week under a system known as apprenticeship. Slavery was totally abolished 4 years later on August 1st, 1838. This day was called Emancipation Day. Today, Jamaica celebrates Emancipation Day on August 1st. This is a public holiday. Another important event would be the Morant Bay Rebellion. After slavery was abolished, many ex-slaves became small farmers. They worked hard, but found it very difficult to provide for themselves and their families. By 1865, working conditions worsened for them. The workers were restive and protested about the unfair conditions. Paul Bogle and his followers marched from Stony Gut in St. Thomas to Spanish Town in St. Catherine to complain to Governor Eyre. Governor Eyre refused to speak to them. In anger, they returned to Stony Gut, where meetings were held. On October 11, 1865, riot broke out in the Morant Bay courthouse. During this riot, numerous people were killed, beaten, and many houses were destroyed. This was called the Morant Bay Rebellion. Paul Bogle was later hanged. Universal adult suffrage is another important event. The right to vote is called suffrage. In 1944, the Universal Adult Suffrage Act gave every Jamaican aged 21 years and over the right to vote at elections. In 1976, the age limit was reduced to 18 years. The right to vote gives citizens the privilege to choose by secret ballot the government they want to rule the country. Now we move on to independence. Jamaica was part of the British Empire. On August 6, 1962, Jamaica became an independent nation from Britain. The country stopped using the British flag, and the new Jamaican black, green, and gold flag was raised for the first time. After independence, Jamaicans no longer sing the British anthem, as the country now has its own national anthem. The first constitution, or law, which would govern the country was presented to Sir Alexander Bustamante, the first Prime Minister of Jamaica. The first native Jamaican Governor General was Sir Clifford Campbell, who represented the Queen. Now let's turn over to page 14. Who are some of the important persons who have helped to shape the Jamaican nation? First, we have our national heroes and heroine. Jamaica has 6 national heroes and 1 heroine. They are Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Sir Alexander Bustamante, Paul Bogle, George William Gordon, Norman Washington Manley, Samuel Sharpe, and Nanny of the Maroons. Now we will look at Marcus Garvey. Marcus Mosiah Garvey was born in 1887 and died in 1940. Marcus Garvey was born in St. Anne's Bay on August 17, 1887. He was Jamaica's first national hero. He worked as a printer in Kingston and was involved in movements which aimed to improve the black people. He founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association, or UNIA, to unite all Negro people. He traveled to many different countries trying to promote better conditions for the black people. With the support of the American Negroes, Garvey started their own food store and a shipping service called the Black Star Liner. He died in England in 1940. His body was brought back to Jamaica in 1964 and buried in the National Heroes Park in Kingston. Garvey's motto was, "One God, one aim, one destiny." The next national hero we have is Sir Alexander Bustamante, who lived from 1884 to 1977. Sir Alexander Bustamante was born in Blenheim, Hanover in 1884. He was the founder of the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, in 1943. He also formed the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union, BITU. Alexander Bustamante was thought of as the champion of the working class and the poor. He was Jamaica's first Prime Minister in 1962. He retired from active politics in 1967. He died on August 6, 1977, at the age of 93. Okay, so if he died on August 6, 1977, what day did he die on? And if you said Independence Day, then you would have been correct. The next national hero we'll look at is Paul Bogle, who lived between 1822 and 1865. It is believed that Paul Bogle was born about 1822. He was a Negro peasant from Stonygut in St. Thomas. He became a deacon in the Stonygut Baptist Church. He was against the oppression, injustice, and poverty that existed in the society. During the 1860s, conditions of the poor deteriorated. Bogle led a delegation to Governor Eyre in Spanish Town. They walked 45 miles to see the governor, who refused to see them. They walked the same distance back home. They were disappointed, and they made up their minds to help themselves. Bogle led a protest to Morant Bay courthouse. There was a violent confrontation with official forces, which led to the Morant Bay Rebellion in 1865. Nearly 500 people were killed, and a great number were flogged and punished before order was restored. Bogle was captured and hanged on October 24, 1865, at the Morant Bay courthouse. Okay, let me see if you'll get this one. If Bogle walked 45 miles to see Governor Eyre and 45 miles back, how many miles did he walk in total? If you said 90 miles, then you would have been correct. Our next national hero is George William Gordon, who lived from 1820 to 1865. George William Gordon was born in Cherry Gardens, St. Andrew, in 1820. His mother was a slave, and his father, who owned the property. He was sympathetic to the poor who could not get any land on which to live. As a landowner, he subdivided his lands and sold the lots cheaply to the people. He urged the people to protest against the injustice in the society. Gordon became a member of the Parliament and spent much time fighting for the rights of the Negroes. He was arrested and charged as an accomplice in the Morant Bay Rebellion. He was executed on October 23, 1865. Okay, let me see if you'll get this one now. Which other national hero died in the same year George William Gordon died? And if you said Paul Bogle, then you would have been correct, because both of them died in 1865. Both of them are connected to the Morant Bay Rebellion. Next one, let's see if you're really paying attention now. What is the difference in days between the deaths of George William Gordon and Paul Bogle? And if you said 1 day, then you'd have been correct. Let's go back and look at Paul Bogle. Paul Bogle died on October 24, 1865, and George William Gordon was executed on October 23, 1865. The difference there being 1 day. Now we move on to Norman Washington Manley, who lived between 1893 to 1969. Norman Manley was born in Roxborough, Manchester on July 4, 1893. He attended Jamaica College, where he won a Rhodes Scholarship to Oxford University. He was a brilliant scholar, lawyer, soldier, and athlete. He identified himself with the workers' cause. In September 1938, he founded the People's National Party, PNP, and was elected annually as its president until his retirement in 1969. Manley and the PNP supported the trade union movement, National Workers Union, NWU. He was the first to be given the title Premier, which means Prime Minister. Norman Manley died on September 2, 1969. The Norman Manley International Airport, among other well-known buildings and foundations, are named to commemorate his memory. We turn over to page 16. Now we have Samuel Sharpe, who lived between 1801 to 1832. Samuel Sharpe was born a slave in 1801. He was a deacon of the Burchell Baptist Church in Montego Bay. Because of Sam Sharpe's intelligence and his leadership qualities, he was called Daddy Sharpe. He was the main instigator of the slave rebellion in 1831, which began on the Kensington estate in St. James. This was largely instrumental in bringing about the abolition of slavery. In 1834, the Abolition Bill was passed by Britain, and in 1838, slavery was abolished. Sam Sharpe's famous words were, "I would rather die upon yonder gallows than live in slavery." He was hanged on May 23, 1832. The Sam Sharpe Square in Montego Bay is named after him. Now we move on to our national heroine, Nanny of the Maroons. Very little is known about Nanny's birth date or how old she was when she died. She was of Ashanti origin and had never been enslaved. Nanny was a Maroon leader of the 18th century. She was known by both the Maroons and British settlers as an outstanding military leader. She worked out strategies of the campaigns against the British troops. During the First Maroon War from 1720 to 1739, she was very important in the fierce fight with the British. Nanny Town, now Moortown in Portland, is named after the national heroine. Now it says, on your own, 1. Do further research on the life and work of all the national heroes and heroine. 2. Complete the following table to show what is used to commemorate the memory of each hero or heroine. And here they have an example for you. So Norman Washington Manley has the International Airport and the law school named after him. So what are the things that are named after Marcus Garvey, Sir Alexander Bustamante, Paul Bogle, George William Gordon, Samuel Sharpe, and Nanny of the Maroons? Let's turn to page 17, where we look at Governor Generals of independent Jamaica. We have Sir Kenneth Blackburn from August 1962 to December 1962. Then Sir Clifford Campbell from 1962 to 1973. Sir Flores L. Glasspool served from 1973 to 1990. Sir Howard Cook served from 1991 to 2006. Sir Kenneth Hall served from 2006 to 2009. And Sir Patrick Allen has been serving from 2009 to present. Now we move to Prime Ministers of independent Jamaica. Sir Alexander Bustamante served from 1962 to 1967. Sir Donald Sangster served from February 1967 to April 1967. The Honorable Hugh Lawson Shearer served from 1967 to 1972. The Honorable Michael Manley served from 1972 to 1980 and from 1989 to 1992. The Right Honorable Edward Seaga served from 1980 to 1989. The Most Right Honorable Percival James Pattison served from 1992 to 2006. The Most Honorable Portia Simpson Miller served from 2006 to 2007. And the Most Honorable Bruce Golding served from 2007 to 2011. Subsequent to this, we have had Andrew Holness, who served from 2011 to 2012, and then Portia Simpson Miller being returned in 2012 until the present time. Now let's see if you were paying attention. Which Jamaican Prime Minister served the shortest term? And if you said approximately 3 months, you would have been correct. Let's now turn over to page 18. What are some of the symbols that identify Jamaica as a nation? These symbols are the national flag, the national bird, the national fruit, the national flower, the national tree, and the coat of arms. Let's talk about the national flag. The national flag of Jamaica is a sacred emblem of the nation. All citizens of Jamaica should pay respect and devotion to it. Its colors are black, green, and gold. The black stands for the strength and creativity of the people. The green stands for the hope and the lush green vegetation of our land. The gold stands for the beautiful sunshine and its natural wealth. Now for the national bird. The national bird is the doctor bird. It lives only in Jamaica and belongs to the species of the hummingbird. The feathers on the doctor bird are iridescent, showing bright colors that seem to change when seen from different angles. The national fruit is the ackee. It came to Jamaica from West Africa. It is cooked with saltfish to make the national dish. The national flower is the lignum vitae. The lignum vitae means wood of life. This plant is found only in Jamaica, growing in woodlands along the north and south coasts. The flower is blue and the wood is used in making some ships. The national tree is the blue mahoe. It is a useful tree found in the forests of Jamaica. It is used to make lumber. The mahoe is popularly used in making furniture because of its beautiful blue-green color. The coat of arms. The present Jamaican coat of arms is a revision of the original one. It shows a male and female Taino standing on either side of the shield, which bears a red cross with 5 golden pineapples on it. On the crest is a Jamaican crocodile, which is placed on top of the British royal helmet and mantlings. The Jamaican motto, "Out of many one people," is inscribed at the bottom of the coat of arms. Now we turn to page 19, where we'll find the national anthem, national song, and national pledge. The national anthem. Now for the national song. Now for the National Pledge.
National Pledge. Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body, in the service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race.
We now turn to page 20, looking at important events in Jamaica's history. 1494, Christopher Columbus discovered Jamaica. 1655, Jamaica captured by the English. 1664, first Jamaica Government House of Assembly established. 1692, Port Royal destroyed by earthquake. 1834, slave trade abolished. 1838, emancipation or full freedom to all slaves. 1865, Morant Bay Rebellion. 1907, Kingston destroyed by earthquake. 1938, labor unrest led to riots. First trade union, BITU, and first political party, PNP, formed. 1944, universal adult suffrage and new constitution. 1948, the University College of the West Indies, now UWI, established at Mona. 1957, cabinet government introduced. 1958, Jamaica became a member of the West Indies Federation. 1959, internal self-government established. 1962, Jamaica became independent. 1962, Jamaica admitted to the United Nations. 1962, first Native Governor General appointed. 1968, Caribbean Free Trade Association CARIFTA formed. 1969, Jamaica became a member of CARIFTA. 1969, first Air Jamaica flight of the Lovebird. 1969, Jamaica currency changed from sterling currency, pounds, shillings, and pence, to decimal currency, dollars and cents. 1998, Jamaica sent its first football team, Reggae Boys, to the World Cup. 2008, Usain Bolt broke the Olympic record for the 100 and 200 meters in Beijing, China. So, by means of review, we looked at the important events and important people in Jamaica's history. We looked at emancipation, the Morant Bay Rebellion, universal adult suffrage, and independence. We looked at our national heroes and heroine. We looked at the Governor Generals of independent Jamaica as well as the Prime Ministers of independent Jamaica. We looked at our national symbols. We looked at the flag, the national bird, the national fruit, the national flower, tree, and the coat of arms. We also looked at the national anthem, the national song, and the national pledge. Then, on page 20, we closed the unit by looking at the important events in Jamaica's history in terms of a dateline. Please go over the dateline and make sure that you are able to quote these dates, as they will help you in your preparation for GSAT. Thank you, and in the next episode we go to Unit 4, where we look at Jamaica's weather and climate. Thank you for listening.